of condensed time with everybody. It could, or it did, at least to me, come across as very kind of dismissive, and it could be just lack of interest, which is understood. You're going to meet people, you're not going to be attracted, things just don't work out in the manner. But my point to say is that because of that factor, like meaning you kind of know what you want, everything is, like you said, is somewhat structured or analyzed for you, that maybe you close that door for true connection because it doesn't visibly look like what you have envisioned.
Okay.
Does that
So
make sense?
that what you're saying makes sense, but let me just tell you
Mm-hmm.
this. Let me tell you how this works, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have you don't have time for BS, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to get to the meat and potatoes. This is not the real world where you go out there and you say, okay, I'll be able to get back to you. It's sink or swim, right?
Okay.
So the thing is, for me, like I said, I was hunting because I was looking for prey before the hunt, right? So the thing
Mm-hmm.
is in a process like this, you're not afforded the time that you would in the real world experience. Otherwise, you'll be gone. So you have to, dive in quickly, see what if there's enough substance there right now for you to even want to build on before you
Mm-hmm.
take even a deeper dive. And so a lot of people was doing surface level. And I'm like, that's cool. Icebreakers are cool. Letting it,
Mm-hmm.
warm up and all of that is cool if this was a real world experience. But
Right.
if you're not, identifying those people up front, like today, and you're still trying to
Mm-hmm.
hang into that process, the process is going to get past you. And then you're no longer going to be in that process. You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so now
Mm-hmm.
you have to really, then you'll be out of the process asking yourself, well, damn, I should have really just stopped bullshitting and got right to business. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at it from that lens, I get it. I get you guys what you guys see versus what we're actually doing. But when you
Well,
see it from our perspective, you really just got to get in there
oh,
and get it all figured out.
and Paul, let me say something. What's your name
Mm-hmm.
again?
My name is Michelle.
Oh, so Michelle. So it's no disrespect. So um, it's just more what you guys didn't see, and this is why
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I get on these lives. Like the Kia, for example, did not want to have anything to do with me from a dating perspective. I
Okay.
understood that. I sensed that. So I was not going to press that. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why, I'm like, oh, okay. And even the kids say, yeah, she pretty much confirmed it. I have that discernment. So
Yeah.
it was cool. It wasn't upset, but some people want you to press that. I'm like, I'm not going to press it when this person doesn't like me. So it looked like it's jaded or whatever, but it's really not. It's more like,
Mm-hmm.
I respect your space. I'm not going to force anything. And plus, we're not equally yoked. So just let it be.
Do you find that you may have not necessarily pressured it, but given it more of an opportunity if the cameras weren't there and it didn't
Nope.
come across
I
as
would,
maybe pushy?
nope. I would never, the women on the show, I would never date in real life.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's just not a connection,
It's not a connection.
period.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So then that would make sense.
But
So have you found that you learned anything from like being on the show in terms of what you want or don't want, like
uh,
disliked? Like I've been listening
oh,
to this live and I hear you saying kind of like, okay, it's kind of over. You're not entertaining anything anymore. But then it's like, okay, but you were just on a show looking for this. So has the experience turned you off so much that now you're
yeah,
closed off
yeah,
to even an external process?
yeah. I'm totally turned off, right? Because, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
This was my last chance at like dating because I've dated, I've done
Last
that.
chance, that's extreme.
Yeah, and so I mean, no, that's why I looked at it. I said, the Lord really want this to
Oh,
be.
okay.
it will be. I said, because this is like-minded people, people who want to date. If it doesn't work here, it's not going to work anywhere. It's not going to work on Instagram. It's not going to work at church. It's not going to work in the parking lot pimping. It's not going to work at the concert, meet somebody. It's just not going to work, because this should be an environment where everyone wants to date, and this is what the purpose is. I said, if it doesn't work here, it's just not meant for you. And that's the way I look at it. It's just not meant for you. It's not nothing bad.
Can you
No
put
hard
it
feelings.
in a different perspective, that maybe it's just a lot has happened, COVID, you know, people are a little different. Like, it's not, you know, being in the same age group as pretty much you guys. I find that life back a couple of years ago is completely different than it is today. It's hard to really tell who is sincere, who's authentic, who's looking for what they say they're looking for. But in the same sense, just like you guys, I'm single, and I don't want to be closed-minded because of a few bad experiences. But I do feel your sentiment in terms of, you know what, after a while, you just kind of give up. You know, you're saying, you're not about the bullshit. This is just too much to endure. It's an emotional roller coaster on top of it to kind of get to know somebody's likes and dislikes. But do you find, as Black individuals, successful people, to establish, that we just don't go through it because, for whatever reason, or just being complacent and comfortable or reserved to the fact that we might just be by ourselves and we're cool with it?
Yeah.
Well,
And now
see,
we've
Yeah.
put
so
up this layer
well,
that
I'll
nobody
say
can really
this.
penetrate.
I'll say this. Let me chime in on that. I worked hard as hell to get to a place where I'm good. This is meaningless to me if I'm here alone. So it has to be,
Okay.
yeah. So for me, this is for me. For me, there has to be that extra component. It has to be there. Like, this is not something where this is not my comfort zone, right? Like, I normally had long lasting relationships. I was married for 12, or I'm sorry, yeah, I was married for 7 years, separated for 4. The the shortest duration of any relationship that I had was 3 years. The longest, obviously, was with my ex-wife, and we was together for 19 years total, right?
Oh, okay.
So my comfort zone is, coming home to having something usual, normal, regular, having that person. So for me, like, when I don't have that, and then I'm doing the most, and in doing the most, sometimes you're doing irresponsible things. Like, you're just hanging out, you're doing whatever the hell you want to do, and you're not really grounding yourself, and you're like, well, what the fuck? I do whatever I want. Like, this is my world, my life. I got the money, I got the whatever. I could do this. And so for me, that creates this sort of reckless temperament. And then when you start to be like that, you start to really embrace that, and that becomes a part of your lifestyle. And so I know so many people, I know millionaires right now that are living that same life. And I'm like, yo, like, why, how? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make, that doesn't translate well in long term. Because I mean, like, now when you get to that age where you're like, okay, I did everything and I'm tired. Now I want to just settle down. Now you have people coming after you for the things that you have and not build it, nothing that was built with you. You understand what I'm saying? So, so for me, I'm very uncomfortable. I'm okay with being single, but I'm uncomfortable as a human being because I'm not like some sort of docile, solitary type of guy. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I need that connection. I need that person. They have to, that's what, I don't know. I think that that's what we're supposed to do at the end of the day. You see what I'm
Totally
saying?
agree. I think that we're supposed to be with someone. We're not meant to be by ourselves.
Right.
And it doesn't need to be sexual in nature. It is really just a companionship,
Right.
right? And it's just sharing experiences and memories with someone, outside of your girlfriends, if you will,
Hmm.
family, etc., and just having, like you said, a meaningful connection. But I wonder if we're kind of just closed off to it, that we push away those sincerities that are chalked up to be too much work. Have we lost the essence of courtship and, a woman stepping back from that hard exterior and saying, you know what, it's okay for me to allow the man to be the man and let me step back and allow him to step forward
Hmm.
and play that role? I wonder if we're trying to play too much of the equalization now, that we've lost sense of, traditional relationships, if you will.
Well, so for me though, I think that relationships and partnership is interchangeable. Like sometimes
Okay.
the man can take the role of a woman and a woman can take the role of a man. But I still think that
Okay.
leadership should come down from a man, because here's why. And I'm not saying that
Mm-hmm.
that women are inferior. However, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
a man's position to be a leader. For example, if there's a problem in the house and we left out and the lights was off and we come home and the lights are on, as a leader, I'm not going to say you go in there first. I'm going to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that everything is checked out, right? And that's what a
Mm-hmm.
leader does. But as it relates to different roles and relationships, those roles become interchangeable. Like, I might be down, I could be sick and in the bed. Now you got to step up and do the things that I would normally do. You might have to pump your own gas and fill up the cars, or you might have to go and take the car to get an oil change and things like that. Just like if your thing is shopping, I might have to do that if you're down. Those roles can't just be secured based off of your gender. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Right.
Yes, I
And
totally
so a lot
understand.
of but a lot of the failures in these in relationships is because we assign certain gender roles, and then if they're not fulfilled, we look and point
Mm-hmm.
the finger, and that's not being collaborative. That's not, folks working together. I mean, there gets to be a point where you can call each other out and say, yo, you're not handling your biz, you're not doing your part or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately, you still have to support your partner. Do you know what I mean?
So do you believe that males have certain strengths and then have certain weaknesses where the female can be
Ab-
more dominant in that
Absolutely.
space?
Absolutely. And I'll
Okay.
give you a great example of that. Me, I'm practical. I think of things logically. I think about
Mm-hmm.
what would make sense. Why should I do this? And I calculate the risk, the reward, and that sort of thing. Women are more emotional. They're in tune to the how would it feel if I did this? How would this affect other people? Right. And so there's times where I need to be into that space. And I can't get there all the time. And so that's when I would be leaning on my second half, like, look, this is the way that I calculated this. But am I just being too rough, too coarse? Am I, taking this overboard? Like, reel me in. Tell me where I should be emotionally vulnerable in this space, because I can't get there as a man. I'm just not equipped that way. You know what I mean?
So you're open
Oh, no
to
doubt.
having those discussions.
No doubt. It has to be, these discussions has to be made. They cannot just be, it's not just a simplistic thing where, you get to just say this and feel this and not really talk back and forth, because that's a design for failure. You know what I mean? Like, two people
Yeah,
have to
no, that's
really,
good.
yeah, you have to align. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it has to be consistent exchange, right?
No doubt about it.
And healthy discussions. And it's okay to agree to disagree, but
Right.
as long as you are able to realign at the end of the day, you still have those common goals.
Right.
I think it's just important. It's just interesting to see. And I think this conversation is great, because I think it gives people a different perspective of who you are, right? Especially as the outside people looking in. I think that even speaking amongst the castmates, a different tone comes across.
Right.
Right. And
No
now
doubt.
I think that even just with this live, it shows that human side of kind of what you just can't get from answering questions on a chat.
Right.
But having, as I stated, a free flowing, organic conversation
No doubt.
where, you know, people see a different side and see a different perspective and kind of get to know who you really are and kind of what makes you tick. What are some of your morals and some of your standards and what you believe in? Because I think it definitely, for me personally, I see you in a completely different light,
Yeah,
and
no
I
doubt.
have a more human connection with you now. Where before I was like, is he just carefree? Is he like, why is he on the show? Like,
He's
what's
reckless.
important to him? Like, you
Right.
know what I
Well,
mean? Like,
but see,
what's
and
going
so
on? Am I missing something?
right.
Like,
So
you know,
so
and then I hear Vern saying, well, this is it. And I'm like, okay, but you just came on a show for
but,
love. Like, how can it just be it? Maybe I'm just a
Michelle,
hopeless
but
oh
but
no,
romantic.
and
But
Michelle,
right.
I still love you, but I'm not going to date. You haven't changed my mind. I'm still not going to date. It's over with. It's done. I'm checked out.
are
God
you
bless y'all.
serious?
Y'all have
Okay, so
fun.
no, but what happened? Like, okay, and the only reason why I asked what happened because
I mean,
you
it
said
was
there was no connection on the show. So how did it have such a major impact
so
that now you're closed off?
so it had a major impact on me because no one told
Hmm.
the truth. No one said, you know what?
Okay.
Nah, Vern is not like that. No one stepped up and said, hey, Vern is not like that. Chill. And then
Hmm.
if I show you my DMs, the negative emails, all the negative content, you would say, I understand why you would not date. Because if you get this from people, and, you know, I'm not crying or complaining, but it just turned
Hmm.
off that portion of me to where I don't want to date. I'm over it. I'm done. Because I went on this I don't have a business to promote. I don't have an angle
Hmm.
to promote. I don't need this show. Never needed this show.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to get known or seen. I'm 45 years old. My contract is about to be expired. I'm not trying to be some actor or whatever. That's not my thing.
Hmm.
So I didn't get on the show
Yeah.
to be a
You're close to it
socialite.
now, right? You're pretty much a celebrity now, right?
No,
So
I'm still Laverne.
you can't really say that, right?
Hey, Michelle, I'm still Laverne who ate syrup sandwiches and the dude around the block, like Paul said, the guy that come and help you change your tire. I'm the same dude. I am not a celebrity. I am not anything. I'm just normal old Laverne who happened to be on a dating show, and that's it. No change in the game.
So can I ask you something? Were the people on the show known to you prior to getting on the show?
The,
And the reason why I ask is, were you expecting too much from people that there might have not been no loyalty instilled,
no.
period,
You
which
know,
means that there was no,
my
no commitment to you?
I was naive to think that we had good people who just do right by people.
Hmm.
You ain't gotta
Okay.
be romantically engaged just to treat someone right. So if I saw you on the street and you needed something, I would help you out. Not because I'm trying to get an angle, because that's the way I'm built. I'm going to help you out. So it's no angle. So
Hmm.
my naiveness was, hey, what's the worst could happen? That they don't like you? Cool. You've been rejected before. No problem. You know, it's a 50-50
Hmm.
chance. It's no, but when it was negative and you were portrayed in a certain way, it's like, why? It's a dating show. Why
But
try?
that's what I was talking about. It's that bird's eye view that the audience sees of an image of you guys. And that's why I said, I wanted to get on the live just to have that conversation, because I think just having something like this, which is not scripted, just kind of, hey, I'm shooting out questions to you guys. You guys are
It's
answering open and honest and being, just that true self. I think people just needed to see that, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
I think we're going to see a change in
And
kind of those messages.
and Michelle, that's why I said the most hurtful thing was, like, let's
Hmm.
just be human to each other and treat each other with
Yeah.
respect. Let's not curse, let's not yell, let's not be negative. But I took so much, and I use this analogy a lot. You can poke the bear, and then when the bear
Hmm.
bites back, don't say nothing. You can't complain. Like my
right.
grandmother
Yeah.
used to tell me, she had a dog, Bridget. I used to keep poking Bridget, pulling Bridget's tail. Bridget showed me grace so many times. And then she said, today, you're going to learn, Laverne. And she bit my hand. And guess what? I never pulled Bridget's tail ever again.
So
So
one
Yeah.
that's
thing.
what it is. It's like you guys didn't see the constant poking, the constant, you know, derogatory comments and you're taking it with grace, you're taking it. You said at some point, I got to take up for myself. At some point,
Yeah.
I can't just allow you to keep saying this stuff and not say nothing. And that's hard for me, because if I see you, Michelle, being taken advantage of in the streets, I'm not going to walk past and not say something. I'm going to either distract that person from being mean to you, or I'm going to directly engage, because that's the military. That's how I was raised. You don't let someone do wrong to somebody and walk away. If I see my neighbor's house being broken in, I'm like, it ain't my house, so I'm going in the house and mind my business. I'm going to say something.
Right.
That's just what it is, you know. But, you know, that's what I was very naive to think that, hey, people will be cool. If we don't like each other, it'll be cool. If the guys, you know, the guys should not like other guys, because guess what? We should all be cool. But even some of the guys were doing stuff. I'm like, why are you doing that? It don't matter. You know, women choose, men claim. That's my philosophy. You know, if you gonna choose who you want, and then it's up to that man to claim you or decide that he wants to take it to the next level with you.
Right. So check it out. I got somebody trying to get in. Michelle, thank you.
It was a great talk.
Yeah, no doubt. And just remember,
Michelle, you didn't change my mind either.